Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and felt like someone was watching you? You glance around your dark room, and there, just at the edge of your vision, a dark figure stands, motionless, silent, watching. These mysterious beings are known as the shadow people, a phenomenon that blurs the line between paranormal legends and psychological science. Today, we're diving deep into one of America's most chilling urban legends. Who or what are the shadow people? Are they supernatural entities stalking the living? Or could they be frightening tricks of the mind? From haunted houses in ghost towns to terrified eyewitnesses across the country, stories of these shadowy figures have haunted the United States for centuries. Let's uncover the truth behind the shadows. Shadow people are described as dark, human-shaped figures that often appear out of the corner of your eye. They usually lack any distinct facial features and seem made of pure darkness. Some witnesses say they simply dart away when spotted. Others claim these figures stand and stare, radiating an overwhelming feeling of dread. Encounters often happen at night, in bedrooms, hallways, or abandoned places, and leave people questioning their sanity. Although the term shadow people is modern, the idea of dark, ghostly figures stretches back centuries. In colonial America, during the 1700s and 1800s, people recorded encounters with shadowy apparitions in diaries, letters, and local folklore. Some Puritan communities believed these shadows were demons sent to tempt or torment the faithful. Ministers warned that dark spirits moved unseen, waiting to sow fear and chaos. In early American settlements, tales spread of black figures seen near forests, graveyards, or lonely roads, a terrifying omen, often linked to death or misfortune. As Enlightenment ideas grew, some began to question if these experiences were supernatural or simply tricks played by the mind under stress, exhaustion, or illness. Across the world, many cultures have their own legends of dark, shadowy figures. In Native American lore, spirits known as shadow beings were sometimes believed to be guardians, or malevolent forces lurking between worlds. In European folklore, tales spoke of night hags and dark silhouettes that pressed upon sleepers' chests, stealing their breath. These stories were often used to explain terrifying nighttime experiences. African folklore describes shadow entities as spirits of the dead or omens, warning of danger or death. Such stories traveled with enslaved people to America, blending into the growing tapestry of supernatural beliefs. Even in Asia, dark figures appear in legends as spirits seeking revenge or unfinished business, showing how widespread and ancient the idea truly is. Though rooted in centuries-old beliefs, sightings of shadow people exploded in popularity in modern times, especially across the United States. The 1990s saw paranormal radio shows, books, and the rise of the internet bring these chilling tales into the spotlight. People began sharing eerily similar experiences. Black figures standing by beds, following them in hallways, or vanishing when confronted. Entire online communities formed, collecting stories and comparing encounters, which only fueled the legend further. Many American urban legends grew from local tales, but shadow people stories feel different. They're shared coast to coast, with countless witnesses describing nearly identical entities. But could there be another explanation? Scientists and psychologists suggest that shadow people may not be supernatural visitors, but rather tricks played by our own brains. One leading theory links these visions to sleep paralysis, a condition where your body is frozen between sleep and wakefulness, while your mind remains aware. In this state, terrifying hallucinations are common, including dark figures watching or approaching you. Researchers also point to hypnagogic hallucinations, vivid images that appear as we fall asleep or wake up. Exhaustion, stress, or certain medications can make these experiences more frequent. Humans are wired to recognize patterns, even in shadows. In low light, our brains sometimes transform harmless shapes into frightening figures, an effect known as pareidolia. For some experts, shadow people are a blend of fear, biology, and psychology, a haunting illusion created entirely inside our minds. Despite scientific explanations, countless Americans swear their encounters with shadow people were far too real to be illusions. One chilling account comes from an 18th century diary in New England, describing a dark man without eyes standing at the foot of a woman's bed for several nights, leaving her terrified and unable to sleep. In the 1800s, settlers in remote American territories reported seeing tall, black figures lurking near forests and cabins, which they believed were omens of illness, disaster, or death. Fast forward to modern times, people from bustling cities to tiny ghost towns tell nearly identical stories of waking to find shadow people staring at them or following them through darkened streets. Whether in the 1700s or today, these experiences share a common thread, a deep, primal fear of the unknown lurking in the darkness. Shadow people haven't just haunted bedrooms. They've crept into American pop culture, fueling our fascination with the paranormal. Horror films often feature dark, humanoid figures that move just out of sight, drawing directly from real-life shadow people stories. TV shows and documentaries like Paranormal Witness and monsters and mysteries in America have devoted entire episodes to these terrifying entities, spreading the legend even further. Even in music and literature, shadow people symbolize fear, depression, and the darker parts of human consciousness. Artists use these figures to capture the feeling of being watched or overwhelmed by invisible forces. The more shadow people appear in media, the more people report seeing them, blurring the line between folklore and modern phenomenon. For paranormal investigators across the United States, shadow people are more than just stories. They're mysterious entities worth exploring. Some believe these figures are spirits of the dead, trapped between worlds. Others suggest they're interdimensional beings crossing into our reality. Investigators often bring tools like infrared cameras, EMF detectors, and motion sensors into haunted locations, hoping to capture evidence of these elusive shadows. However, even with advanced technology, conclusive proof of shadow people remains out of reach. Many recordings show only fleeting shapes or unexplained shadows, leaving skeptics unconvinced. Yet, for those who've seen shadow people firsthand, no scientific explanation can erase the terror of locking eyes with a figure made of pure darkness. Of course, not everyone believes shadow people are supernatural visitors. Many scientists and skeptics argue that these dark figures have logical and natural explanations. Sleep researchers emphasize that during sleep paralysis, the brain is caught between dream and reality. It's common for people to project fearful images, like shadowy intruders, into their surroundings. Psychologists also point to pareidolia, the tendency of the human brain to see faces and human shapes where none exist, especially in low light and moments of fear. Neurologists suggest certain brain conditions, stress, or even simple exhaustion can cause hallucinations, tricking us into thinking something supernatural is lurking. For skeptics, shadow people are not ghosts or spirits, but rather a fascinating and sometimes terrifying window into how the human mind processes fear and uncertainty. So, what's the truth behind the shadow people? Are they spirits from another realm, ancient entities haunting the living, or simply figments of our anxious, sleep-deprived minds? The phenomenon sits at a mysterious crossroads between folklore, neuroscience, and cultural storytelling. Centuries of American legends have kept these dark figures alive in our imagination. Science offers powerful explanations for how our minds can create these frightening visions. Yet countless witnesses insist they've seen something far more real and far more sinister. Perhaps shadow people are both, a real experience shaped by very real human fears. In the darkness, our minds may conjure monsters, But sometimes we can't shake the feeling that something truly is watching us from the shadows.